I'll do it if you can't find the clip.
They're trying to tell us something. They have figured out the formula for chaos.
When the clock strikes 8:30, babe, time to head for Chris's house.
Hey.
Will the song make it to the next round? Pot of Thunder. Let's pot tonight. Come on, baby, let's pot tonight.
Oh, yeah. Band sounding good. Doc Gibbs and the Emerald Live Band bringing it to you each and every week here on Pot of Thunder, the recognized symbol of excellence in rock and roll podcasting, brought to you by patreon.com/Pot of Thunder. Nick's going to pull his wiener out. He's doing it tomorrow on... No?
What it is? I have to check my schedule.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I check my PDA.
Okay.
Pull dick. What? I don't know what the A would stand for, but
Assistant,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah, right.
I don't know
Pull
what's...
dick assistant has my get my dick out calendar.
I gotta flash it with new firmware.
I don't know what's going on the Patreon.
I'm not sure what doctor to go to get that done.
Yeah, I don't have the subscription, so I don't know who's doing what on there, but I'm just assuming that's what's happening over on patreon.com/Pot of Thunder. There's something for everybody. Welcome to the show. You know me. Let's find out who I am.
Our producer is named Andy Jones. Makes it possible to bring you the show. And he clicks like the wind. Clicks like the wind. Our producer is named Andy Jones.
Yes, his name's Andy Jones.
Big vocal from Chris. Thank you.
Tackling the Michael McDonald part.
Nicely done.
Not
Love
easy.
it. Excellent work. That's right. It's your buddy Andy, America's little brother. Your Indiana dream boy. And over there, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think it's going to happen today.
I can't dance. I ate a lot of pizza, and I'm with dog.
Yeah, he's got a guest in his lap, so
you have to use your imagination today.
I'll still throw Andy the hat.
pass it along.
Polka dancing his way across our minds. Nick Polak has entered the program. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
It's a pleasure.
A couple of dogs in the studio today. One on Nick's lap, one on that man to your left. Ladies and gentlemen, you want him. We got him.
I can have it every day, yeah, yeah. I can have it. Get out of my way, yeah, fuck you.
Put your hands together for the breakout star of the program. That is Chris L. We are Pot of Thunder. And it wouldn't be a special day if we didn't have a fourth voice.
Well, so we got this would make a sixth dog on the show tonight. So,
all right, for the very first time on Pot of Thunder, ladies and gentlemen, joining us from the Deep Purple podcast, John Mottola.
He's got the power. This is the hour now. Out of the cold, it's John Mottola. Nothing and no one is stopping him now. Out of the cold, it's John Mottola. This show is rough, but he'll make it somehow.
man,
What's going on there, Nick? My
Wow.
John requested that, I don't know,
I think he's trying to
a
kill
long time
you.
ago.
Trying to kill you with
crazy.
that vocal. That might be your modern day Delilah. Your voice might be
The
shot
end.
at.
That's the end.
Jeez.
The end of Never Enough. That was the end.
But when you have a guest of this stature, you got to raise your game.
Well,
so
John said, I don't know, whenever we had Nathan from the Deep Purple podcast as co-host, we had a discussion, and I don't know if you said it flippantly, but here it is.
Yeah,
You said this
I
is
did,
the song I would want.
Well, welcome,
thank
John.
You. What an intro. Thank you.
It's nice to have you for the first time on the show. Like you said, we had Nathan. from the Deep Purple podcast. Now we've got John. Got everybody. So, John, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you here. It's going to be a while.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Oh, come on. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a big I'm thrilled to be on. Thank you.
You're too nice.
Yeah.
and your expectations are too low.
They are. Yes.
No, I mean Nate and I started our podcast 5 years ago, and that's right around the time I started listening to you guys. He pointed out the Deep Purple episode you guys did on Getting Tighter.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
yeah.
did pull that
And
one.
and that's how I started listening to you guys. So you've been like on my regular listening schedule ever since. Never miss a show.
Jeez, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And somehow I was surprised to learn that you were a big Kiss fan, and so you got on board after we completed the Kiss catalog. So, did you double back at all and listen to any of those old episodes since you discovered us?
Yeah, I did. It's I don't have too many podcasts that I've listened to that I've had to have an extensive back catalog, but since you guys did, I kind of cherry picked at first songs I was interested in, but eventually got to all of them pretty quickly. So, but yeah, I missed that whole first part. I got in when you guys stopped doing Kiss.
Wow,
But,
it's like the halfway point, pretty much.
Yeah,
at this point, right?
Yeah,
Isn't it close to it?
Getting there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, so Nate was on before. We love Nate. I mean, not long ago, Nate and I had an evening in Chicago. He was nice enough to treat me to a ticket to the Satch Vi tour, which, you know, as a guitar nerd, I was in danger of losing my membership card to that club because I'd not seen either of them in concert before, so got that done in one night, and we had a pleasant evening, and he's a wonderful guy. But I mean, John's the heartthrob of the show, so that's what it's really why we wanted to have him on.
Well, now he's the heartthrob of our show.
Exactly.
Yes.
We need this
Shucks.
kind of appeal on the show. So
Chris is the
Been a long
breakout
time
star
coming.
of the podcast medium. John is the heartthrob of the podcast medium.
he is.
There you go.
This is shaping up to be really something.
Yeah,
Here.
and nobody can tell me differently. So,
Yeah.
So, I invited John to come on. We sort of debate, whenever we have a guest on, I offer them the opportunity to just pick the song outright, or they could pick off the list. Let us pick up off the list, and we arrived at the decision that since it's my pick this week, we'll just go ahead with that off the list and see what happens.
Ooh.
So,
All right. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it.
now you don't have to boot up the generator.
We don't
because
need it.
I'm hand picking one off the list.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a timeliness factor to this one.
Okay. But it is
And
on
I
the
did
list.
check it. It was on the list.
Okay.
And I don't think, either via my appearances on their show or Nate's appearance on our show, I don't know if we've ever established whether, I mean, I'm sure you're aware of this band. Obviously, you would be, but I don't think we've ever determined what your opinion of the band is. So that'll be the interesting part of it.
Yeah, that's what you've been telling me.
Yeah.
We first started talking about it, and I'd had a song in mind, and we won't say in case you ever want to have me back to do it, but I guess we thought it would be more interesting if you chose a song, and I trust your judgment.
Yeah, well, that's your judgment is now in question for trusting my judgment. But no, you had a great choice, and it would be a good episode. But like I said, there's a little bit of a timeliness factor that sort of tipped the scales in favor of this one.
Something's going on out there in the world that pertains to this song, is what I'm being led to
This is correct. So now. Andy can look it up so we can get the comment.
I've got it here, but
it's number 1173, and because that's the number,
Oh my goodness.
leads us into Hit It.
Time for Pope stuff. Yeah, that Pope stuff. Here's some Pope stuff. Time for Pope stuff.
Now, John, what are your thoughts on Pope stuff? It's a polarizing segment. People either really like it or they really hate it. Where do you sit on that fence?
I mean, I like niche segments. I think Nate and I have kind of developed a couple of them ourselves. So
Yeah, good.
That was a very political answer. I like niche segments. He didn't say I like this one. He just said
He's a professional.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. I know how to answer a question. No, I like Pope stuff. I think that it's when you try and throw Pope facts at people, though, that's where I think it's kind of unfair, because sometimes I try and do it and I always lose. I never guess right.
yeah. I don't think any of us have ever guessed right.
Well, Nick is usually in the ballpark because he has more knowledge about the subject than the rest of us. But we're going way back, like centuries.
Which one was this?
Which year?
Yeah.
1173.
Oh, goodness.
My favorite part of the segment is for the life of me, I can't remember how it started. People have actually told me how it started, and I've forgotten already. And the best part of it is just it came out of nowhere, and it's gained some momentum. That's my favorite part of it. But are we ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
1173, February 21st. Thomas Becket is canonized by Pope Alexander III. His tomb in Canterbury Cathedral becomes a shrine and a popular pilgrimage destination. There you have it.
Okay. Becket.
Thomas Becket with one T is also known as St. Thomas of Canterbury, Thomas of London. Served as Lord Chancellor, blah, 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 Archbishop of Canterbury,
Fairly well known.
Yeah, some
saint,
high-ranking dude in
especially
English royalty.
Yeah.
All right.
So there you go.
Huh.
A movie about him.
Was there?
There's a movie just called Becket, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I thought it was Tommy Boy was the movie about him. And they changed the plot after the after the test showing.
Wasn't Beckett the last name of the Quantum Leap character?
Sam Becket?
Sam Beckett. Okay. Sam Beckett.
Am I right on that, John? Dr. Sam Beckett?
Oh, you got me.
Oh.
No.
No, I did. Yeah, no, I never. What was that? What show was it
Quantum
again?
Leap?
Quantum Leap. No, I never really watched it.
No.
when it was
All right.
out.
It's worth
Yeah,
a watch.
no, that one never.
Yeah, I never watched that either. What years was that on? Like late 80s?
Late 80s into the 90s.
All
Yeah.
right, yeah, that whole time in my life was a complete blur from a TV standpoint. I think I've said on the show that the only shows I remember watching regularly was Body Shaping and the other workout shows in the morning on ESPN, and Beavis and Butthead, of course. Everything else, a complete Seinfeld, I never watched when it was on. I've since, caught up on the reruns. Good show. But yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Signed off on it.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I mean, it's, yeah.
It's not all
enjoy it,
hype,
but,
is what you're saying.
but it was a new discovery for me as recently as 3 years ago, because when
Yeah.
it was actually on was a complete blur in my life. So.
And that's a show that I remember watching when it was on, and I really haven't watched it in reruns.
Never?
Not really. Maybe a few times here or there. There are a few shows like that where, like Cheers.
Yeah.
I remember watching it when it was on, but I don't remember watching very many reruns
Yeah.
since.
That one's the same with me.
Cheers has been over for 30,
Oh.
31, 32 years, something like
Probably,
that? Yeah.
It's crazy to
Wow.
say.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm excited for the song choice. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm interested to hear John's opinions on this band. We've featured this band on the show before.
Okay.
And then specifically this song, which I think is fantastic, but we'll see what the panel thinks.
Okay. Well, I had a guess in my head, and only half of your criteria that you just mentioned is true. So,
Okay.
so it's not. It can't be.
Can't be that.
No.
Okay.
All right.
Well, actually, 2/3 because you said it was topical and it's fantastic.
It is.
we-
In my opinion, it's fantastic.
We featured one of the artists that I was gonna guess, but no.
Also, in the opinion of the person who submitted it to the list, who happens to be one of the Caruzos. So,
Oh, that
a
might
rare good recommendation from those guys.
that might swing it back to my guess here.
Well,
I guess I could just say what my guess was. 'Cause
Okay,
I'm
let's
sure
hear
it's not it's P. Diddy featuring Jimmy Page. Come
no,
come
that's
with me.
It's not it.
You said
The
it was
Cashmere?
topical. Said it was topical.
What's topical about that?
Well,
P.
P.
Diddy's in
Diddy's
the news.
in trouble.
But is there something new, like from today?
No.
He's been in
No.
trouble for like a month.
All
2
right, well,
months,
that's
right?
still
So it's
topical.
somewhat topical.
All
I
right.
guess. My goodness.
This one is more topical.
Even more than that.
Something that's happened within the past week or two.
Okay.
So.
Wow. All right.
All right. Well, before we reveal it, I'm hungry. Nick, pass the food.
See, here's the thing.
Oh,
Jesus.
no.
Diet time again. Diet time again.
Pool weather.
Diet time again.
What, you guys ain't going in any water?
Diet time again.
What's the problem?
So I can't eat a treat when it's pool weather?
If-
That's what you're telling me?
next week I will bring some.
Okay. That's all right.
It's been a very busy week in real life, but next
You know,
week.
my wife's been out of town since last Wednesday, so 8 days. I'm running out of gas over here. I was kind of counting on actually having something to eat tonight,
Yeah.
and
Well,
now I don't know what I'm going to do.
let's go up
I
and
might-
bake.
I might not be able to make it through the episode.
Let's go. Let's throw something together after the show.
Definitely running out of edible things in the house. So
I mean, I didn't get to have any, but
Yeah.
yeah,
you know, I'm getting gypped on this episode. I get to see Nick dance. There's no big
Yeah,
treat.
that's true. You're not getting anything. Not getting anything out of that end of the couch.
I don't know. You know, I will take some responsibility for the no dancing since my wife's not here. I have to have a couple of the dogs down here, so whatever. You know, yes, we should treat our esteemed guest a little better.
Would you guys like me to tell you what I would have brought?
Well, now what good would that
It's
be?
it's
I'd like to
it's
hear
all
it.
the same for John.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
but
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
let me
right.
imagine it. Let me close my eyes.
Okay,
All right.
so
what, you had something planned and it just
well, I
didn't
have
come to
something in the
fruition?
freezer at home, but I just didn't bring it.
Okay.
It's so I looked up. You guys remember, obviously, the spokesperson for the Jello pudding pops. I'm sure you remember the
course.
controversial spokesperson. But the
Well,
Jello
yes.
the Jello pudding pops themselves. I tried looking up a recipe for it, and they said, "Oh, just make the Jello and then freeze it in a mold. You know, that's it." So I was like, "That's kind of icy." So I was searching around, and a guy claimed, it was in a comment section on a recipe, and a guy claimed that his wife worked at Kraft Foods in the 80s, and that really all it is you would make your pudding the way you normally do, and you would add a cup of Cool Whip and mix it in, and then that's how you get your, they deep freeze it, I guess, which gives it the texture.
Yeah.
But essentially that's the recipe. So I have a box of butterscotch pudding and some Cool Whip, and I could bring it next week. If
Did you
guys-
make the
if you guys
bars
are
yet or
interested.
no?
Yeah, I do have a few.
Did it work?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, I think there's something to the quote unquote deep freezing that I don't know, but
Can't do it at home.
pretty close. I mean, I don't know.
All right.
So if that sounds good, I can bring it next week.
Sounds good to me.
Oh,
I don't know if I should bring a frozen thing though. Is it
You
gonna start
might
melting?
want to hold off on that for the 4th of July episode because we got the fireworks kit game and it sounds like a pretty special treat. So just throwing that out there
I can-
might
can-
be worth holding on to that for another week.
Okay,
because
I'll do that.
that's a big episode. That's Jones versus Jones this year,
I'm back in it.
which I've got to get off my ass and put the contest together. So, yeah, reminded me of that.
All right.
But
Well-
for now, we've got business at hand right here.
Yeah.
So I'm ready when you are, Andrew.
Okay. I'm assuming you. Yeah, of course you know everything. All
I
right,
do.
let's turn the microphone over to Chris Jericho.
All right, Halen. This one's called
She's the Woman,
Oh my.
Off of
A Different Kind of Truth,
by the band.
Van Halen.
Okay.
Hey, first impressions, John. Your opinions of Van Halen.
So, yeah, Van Halen.
You've heard
I
of
was
them,
never,
right?
What?
You've heard of them, correct?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think of what I want to say
There's
is
a lot to
I was
unpack.
never really a band that I was into at the time. But I mean, I've gone through and listened to all the albums, kind of the same way that you went back and watched Seinfeld after the fact.
There you go.
So, yeah, I think, I mean, obviously I'm aware of them. I think that they're, I think their classic stuff is great, but I've never been an active fan. I want to say, I've seen them. I want to say I've seen them live maybe a couple of times, but that was like a long time ago. Probably 90s. Cause I have a friend that would like go to shows and, he'd just be like, hey, who wants to go to this? Who wants to go to that? So, and I don't remember a lot about that, but, I do know that like, growing up, I loved, Jump when it came out. Cause I mean, you gotta be living under a rock to not know, that song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as a band goes, I mean, I always thought they were really good. I never really put them on, but I mean, I know all the big hits. I was really kind of taken aback by how many weird instrumentals there were on their albums.
Yeah.
When I listened to them, because it's like all I knew, like a casual listener, was their popular stuff. So when I actually buckled down and was like kind of going through them, it was kind of weird. I'm just like, I didn't know they had this much avant-garde type of stuff on here. It was like really eye-opening. But yeah, no, I think that they're pretty good, but I'm just kind of like a casual fan, I guess you could say.
Okay, well that should make for some interesting commentary, because this song is from the their last album, most recent album.
Okay.
Remind me of the year it came out, Andy, if you have that handy. But it was the reunion album with Roth,
2012.
2012, so it's like 12
okay.
years ago already. It had been pulled from all the streaming services like a month or two ago. The word on the street is that David Lee Roth is not happy with this album and he wanted it off of the streaming services. Wolfgang, who played on the album, was the bass player, backing vocalist on the album, wanted it up there. And from what I read this past week, because it reappeared on the streaming services, that Roth decided it wasn't worth the money to put forth the legal fight to keep it off, and so he relented, and it's back available to anybody who uses streaming services.
Okay.
It's a weird why I don't know.
It's-
Like I have this album. I don't see why you would be that upset about it.
I don't get it
I
either.
mean-
I considered it a triumph, an incredible album. That's my opinion. Every track is great, but this one especially is... I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want this out there to be consumed by as many people as possible. Because, I mean, they're past the point where... that it's a big deal that, yes, you get a fraction of a cent for every stream or whatever, that whole thing is pretty much accepted by anybody who's on the service. I mean, anybody who signed a record contract ever signed away rights in perpetuity. This is where we are. That's not it. For him to claim that the quality of the album is why he wanted it pulled is just further proof that he's completely going batshit in his old age. So, I mean, this song especially, and another thing that like bitter old Van Halen fans are criticizing is that there's a large amount of songs that are derived, if not just straight up renditions of songs they had way back when, even preceding the Gene Simmons demos in 76 or 77, I think. They did that throughout their entire the entire Roth era. All of those albums contained a song or two, if not more, from way back when. So they were dipping that into that well the whole time. Nobody had a problem with it back in the 80s because the songs were great. Same deal here. Nobody should have a problem with it. Just looking for reasons to criticize it, and those opinions should just be completely ignored.
And this is one of the songs that fits into that category, right? Where it's from early like Mammoth days, basically.
So this is, from what I understand, this one goes furthest back in the history.
Oh, really?
Of,
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is cool. I still don't understand. I mean, it's fine, but I don't understand why Michael Anthony was not part of this. I don't really get that, especially even at that point, 2012, we're talking 12 years ago, but even back then, he'd become very revered.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of times, you remember in the Pound Cake video where Sammy says, you take an average guy, and then he points at Michael Anthony,
right.
Basically like, this is an average guy, not the star of the band by any means, but in recent years, highly revered for his backing vocals especially, but also for his bass playing.
Well, I think real Van Halen fans revered him the whole time.
Yeah,
I think that the issue was,
but everybody says it now.
The issue was that there was, Sammy ended up falling afoul with the Van Halen brothers, and Michael Anthony sided with Sammy, and so they blackballed him for that reason. I mean, Eddie Van Halen, known for holding grudges and having resentments toward people that he couldn't get over, and Alex pretty much just went along with whatever Eddie wanted to do. So I was the same thing, because I mean, with the reunion, with the Sam and Dave tour in 2007, that's when Wolfgang was brought in the band, and I just was like, this is nepotism, this is bullshit, they're doing Michael Anthony dirty, I don't like it. So I was like, reluctantly gonna listen to this album, because I was like, Anthony's not on it, who knows if Wolfgang is even any good. And in the first spin, I was like, okay, I gotta eat crow on this. This is fucking great. And Wolfgang is probably the impetus for, well, first of all, he was the one who made the phone calls to get this reunion back together. But in terms of like infusing the energy that you're about to hear, if you've never heard this song before, or if you've heard it, you're going to hear it again, but infusing the energy and just being like the catalyst for the whole thing completely changed my opinion on that whole decision to bring him in and leave Michael Anthony out.
So maybe it just doesn't happen at all if not for him, huh?
Probably doesn't happen at all. And again, it's just, I think when Michael Anthony kind of gravitated towards Sammy, he was an unforgivable thing in the eyes of the Van Halen brothers, and they were never gonna patch that up, at least up through 2012. I mean, if Eddie had lived and it was still going on, maybe they would have patched up, but it wasn't going to happen back 12 years ago.
And funny enough that the bass players, the only two bass players that Van Halen have had, at least outwardly, public persona wise, the two level-headed guys.
Yeah.
Like, they don't seem to be very petty.
Well, yeah, their lead vocalist certainly not in that space.
Well, no.
Unless Mitch Malloy is a very... I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know if he counts.
He doesn't count. No.
I'm looking at this listing on Apple Music, and it says copyright 2012, The Three Twins LLC and Diamond Dave Enterprises Inc. So
Yeah.
it's not one company.
No.
It's the Three Twins.
Everyone is a company.
The three Van Halens are one company, and then Diamond Dave is a company.
And it's, definitely a schism there. But, I think that throughout the whole time with Roth, and to a certain extent toward the end of the Sammy era, I think that friction within the band created some favorable output in terms of the quality of the music.
My favorite thing, I just remembered this from when they got the reunion back together and were saying that they're going to make an album, is the fact that this had happened a couple years after the Police had done their reunion tour, and they didn't have an album. They just basically did like a reunion tour, all songs already, nothing new.
Right.
And I remember David Lee Roth at the press conference for when they got back together burying the Police for that.
Really?
Basically just saying this
Right away.
this isn't the Police.
Yeah.
We're actual band. We're actually going to make an album. And there was some, how David Lee Roth always has his little expressions.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm not going to get it right, but it was a play on words where he was basically saying this is the future. We're not out to pasture. Something like that.
Oh boy. Okay.
A little future and past kind of wordplay there. Yeah, he's Dave. Diamond Dave's gonna Diamond Dave. That's what he's gonna do. But I do remember that, and that always made me laugh a little. That this is their moment, and he's dedicating part of that time to burying the Police.
Oh, you have to establish yourself as the top dog in the reunion game, I guess.
Even though the Police, it was over at that point.
Yeah.
They weren't competing with the Police tour at that point, but he just had to say it.
These guys in these positions, they just can't behave themselves.
No, and this is a band full of people that can't behave themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you've never heard this one, John, to your knowledge?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if I've heard anything off of this album.
Okay.
Well, I would recommend, now that it's available.
Yeah.
I don't know if you use streaming services or whatever, but if you do, it's out there.
Yeah, I do.
I would say give it a listen. It's impressive, the energy and the quality of the playing and the material. In fact, I will do this because of your regular show you're on. I would liken it to, although more time elapsed between albums with the not the same lineup but the same singer, I would equate it to when Perfect Strangers came out. It was 11, 12 years after that lineup had been together, and pretty fucking awesome that they for a comeback album. So this I would rank this on the same level in terms of that kind of quality that you didn't necessarily expect, and you got it.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, I never. And I mean, not being a really active Van Halen fan, I would have known that album was. Is that album really held in that regard by most fans, or?
Like I said, the opinions are mixed. I think a lot of people are like, they just can't, when they get into the middle age and they just get all bitter about life, they just lash out at stuff, and they just the main criticism is, it's all rehashed demos. They did that throughout the entire fucking Roth era. It's nothing new. The only thing different is that you're 45, 50 years old. Your life didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, versus when you were originally listening to it and you were 15 and everything was in front of you and everything was exciting. And now you're fucking bitter about your boring life, and you're lashing out at what by any measure is a fucking triumph from Van Halen for that reason. And then the other half of the fans have their shit together and realize this album is fucking fantastic. And like me, I had to put aside the preconceptions about Wolfgang, the whole Michael Anthony situation. I was not on board with that. One spin of this album completely changed my mind. I ate crow immediately. Said, this is fucking legit.
All right. Oh, what was I going to ask you? Something about that. Oh, you said something about how people were criticizing it for being rehashed demos. Is that because people had already heard those demos, like they come out in some kind of box set or something?
Those demos had been circulated.
Okay, so that's how they knew they were.
They
familiar.
never came. They were never officially released in a box set, but they made the rounds. They'd leaked out and were circulated. So
Gotcha.
Isn't that a thing that fans of bands like this typically do, though? They'd say, "Oh man, imagine if they came out with an album and they put, I don't know, I'll say for Kiss fans, a Wicked Lester song on a Kiss album." You know what I mean? Like that's something that your hardcore diehards would fantasize about. And so Van Halen does it.
If they did it in the present, though, Nick.
Well, I mean, I don't know about the present because that.
Well, they don't. Nobody's gonna like anything.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I'm saying, like, say Kiss comes out with Monster, right? At that point in time, people either like it, they don't like it, whatever. You probably had your people. I mean, you've got people who want The Elder to be released with the guitar solos that Ace recorded. You know what I mean? Like, there's just. People love that stuff. That's like fantasy material for them, which is surprising that if you've got Van Halen fans that they would say, "Oh, this is a song that is like the Mammoth days." I don't like that idea that they're rehashing it. Like you would think that would be a thing that they would sit around and say, "Dude, it would be awesome." If they plucked the super old song and did a proper recording of it.
The Van Halen song, the Van Halen fans with brains feel that way. The people are just looking for something to criticize. Have the opposite opinion. They just.
Or do you feel like they didn't like that because Michael Anthony wasn't part of it?
That's part of it.
Probably.
Also, the first single, "Tattoo," was a polarizing song. Not everybody liked it. I was good with it. But that's another thing. People didn't like the first single, so they just didn't even bother listening to the album, and just a lot of things going on. But I'm gonna say no more. We'll do our normal thing. We're gonna listen to the song. We'll stop it, whatever. Comment as the song goes. I'm interested to hear all the opinions. Because Andy, have you heard this song before?
I must have, because I know I listened to this album. The only song I remember is "Tattoo," though. Yeah. Like off the top of my head.
Nick, have you heard it?
I have the album.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know this one pretty well.
I have heard "Tattoo." Yeah.
Okay, so we're on the same boat, John.
So yeah, that might be it.
Yeah. Let me quickly, before we get started, read what Mike Caruso sent in with his submission here of "She's the Woman." He said, let's see. I gotta click for more.
Gotta clean up the language on it.
Jeez, Mike. No.
These Philly guys, they just can't control themselves.
When they're not throwing snowballs at Santa Claus, then they're using profanity.
He's a dirty what? Oh, sorry. Arguably the best song on this album. I have no idea how this never made one of the early David Lee Roth Van Halen albums, but glad it got a proper recording for this album.
See, there you go.
Some great Dave lyrics, too. So there you go.
Yeah. Some excellent lyrics, and like the only other thing I'll just reiterate is the energy level is impressive given the chronology of the band and how long it had been since that chemistry had been together. One man's opinion. We'll see what you guys think.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with "She's the Woman."
Okay, first of all, well, there's actually a lot going on there, but you know,
Yeah.
John, coming from the Deep Purple podcast, which I got to say, I want to openly, and I've thanked you for this before, but I will say it again out here in public. They have done me the great pleasure of commandeering the episodes where they analyzed Joe Lynn Turner era Rainbow albums. They had me on for all three, which is more than I deserve, and I appreciate it. But you can never go wrong with a punch in the stomach sound effect from the singer that kicks in with the band there. It's kind of similar to Joe Lynn Turner's touching a hot stove outbursts that he has frequently. So there's that. There's Wolfgang playing kind of that, shreddy type of bass type thing. Eddie with the wah pedal, which he really discovered during the Sammy era. You never really heard that during the original Dave era. And then you can never go wrong with Alex playing the old disco beat on the hi-hat, which he does throughout the song. So,
and once it kicks in, you could swear that's Michael Anthony playing that groove, just that simple kind of like, it totally sounds like him. I mean, maybe. Well, I mean, he's probably just playing one or two notes, but just to have that feel, especially with Alex playing, it's a pretty good replica.
Yeah, and I think he also pays homage to Michael Anthony, Wolfgang. I'm talking about with the the way he approaches the backing vocals and singing in that higher register. You don't really hear it on this song, but there's definitely some reverence there, and as we've heard from Wolfgang with his solo band Mammoth WVH.
It's always cumbersome to say the band name,
right,
with the initials.
But the guy's absolutely got talent.
Yeah.
Doing his own thing, and it's very contemporary. And he's legit. Like I said, I thought it was just nepotism. Didn't like the fact that it was just you plopped a kid in there in place of a guy who was there from the beginning and had so much to contribute to the original Van Halen sound, and all that went out the window the second I spun this album. Like, this is totally legit.
Yeah, I have nothing but respect for Wolfgang Van Halen.
Yeah, agree.
The Mammoth stuff is really good, and just from interviews that I've read, he seems like, and especially considering his circumstances, upbringing and everything, seems like a pretty down to earth guy who seems to really be like a thoughtful guy who has the best interest of the Van Halen legacy.
Yeah, totally agree.
It seems like it's in good hands if it's in his hands, from what I can tell.
All right, let's keep going.
Classic Dave here.
Did you catch that, John?
Yeah, what is he?
He said
he
it's
say?
You
quite
got
a
the
turn
lyrics up, Andy?
Yeah, I have
It's
it.
quite a turn of phrase.
Is it what I think?
Buckle up for this one.
I think so.
Literally.
He said, a little low on cash, but I'm high on luck. I want to be your knight in shining pickup truck.
That's what's the so what that lyric is on par with what's the song on this album? Chris probably knows. I want to say it's the beginning of the first lyric of the song is how many roads must a man walk down before he admits he's lost.
Oh, I can't pinpoint it.
That's on this album as well. It's like one of those. It's a play on a well-known expression or line or something like that, and it's just it goes into farce land a little bit.
Yeah,
on the absurd, but people want that from David Lee Roth.
Well,
they want things to get a little bit out there.
But just an underrated lyricist in terms of his turns of phrase, and like nobody else would think of knight in shining pickup truck. I mean, not even the fucking songwriting factory in Nashville would come up with that. That you could plunk down in a new country song, and it would be like off the charts, great. And this comes from David Lee Roth. I mean, that's brilliant.
And it paints a picture. It successfully paints a picture of the protagonist character here. That he's low on cash, and he's got a pickup truck. So okay, we have a whole kind of a beginning of a story here.
And then this next set of lyrics just reinforces it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what it is.
With a Chevy for my summer home, let's get the party started. It's looking like the city told my other apartment. She got a doorbell sign that says ring it, don't ring it. She's the one that
with a Chevy for my summer home, let's get the party started. It's looking like the city towed my other apartment.
That's good.
And then she's got a doorbell sign that said, bring it or don't ring it. It's fucking great.
Have you guys seen Napoleon Dynamite?
Yes.
I think the Uncle Rico character could be the protagonist here.
That could be it.
Possible.
Yeah. Didn't he live in his van?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And he was kind of looking,
he's down
low on resources, but still optimistic and trying to get ahead.
Yeah, this could be.
So this could be the Ballad of Uncle Rico so far.
Yeah. What's your thoughts so far, John, on the whole package?
I mean, it sounds like a classic Van Halen song. Like if you told me it was from 20 years earlier, I would have believed you. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't sound like it would have come from like you would say is a reunion album, right? Like it doesn't have that feel, because you say reunion album, you think, okay, it's going to sound different, maybe not as high energy, but I mean, to me, it sounds every bit as good as anything else that they had recorded. I don't know if it's because it was a like we were saying, a pick from an old track, like a demo track, or if it's just they were still that good. I think it's because they were still that good.
Oh yeah, there's no question. I mean, the only thing is like, I never heard the original demo, so I don't know how close to the original arrangement it is, or if these are the original lyrics, or if he updated them or whatever. But I mean, it definitely harkens back to their early days. But this is the 2012 version of the band performing this, and the energy is fucking just off the chain. I mean, I was just drawn into it immediately, especially on this track, and it carries through the whole album. And I couldn't have been more pleased with it when I first heard it.
And to what John said, this is, I mean, if you listen to the old Van Halen records, songs are great, performances are great, a lot of energy. Some odd panning choices in the mixing. So, I mean, this is essentially, of course, not with Michael Anthony, but essentially that same band with more updated, a little more sensible, if that's the right word. Not as experimental in the production and in the mixing. It's more just like wanting to rip your head off with the sound.
Right.
So it's the same band essentially, and it's a more updated production sound.
Yes.
Not that I have an issue really with the old Van Halen stuff, but say one of your speakers goes out in your shining pickup truck.
Yeah.
You may not hear Eddie.
You're either gonna get all guitar or you can get no guitar.
You may just get like the reverb of the guitar.
Yeah. So, but no, this is definitely modernized from a sonic standpoint, which is good.
But it's got that groove.
The groove is
Van Halen,
and that's again. You want to talk about underrated? Alex Van Halen, always in the shadow of his brother, just because he was one of the greatest guitarists who ever lived. incredible drummer, and like I said, when he does the disco beat thing on the hi-hat and brings it into this type of music, fucking gets the chef's kiss from me on that. I mean, he did it like Mean Street is another example of that, where it's like it's a down and dirty, heavy song. It's based on a fucking disco beat. How brilliant is that to bring that to the table? Love it.
She's the one man. She's the one man. She's the one man. Fate is my pimp, but she was cool. Said if you're doing business with me, honey, what does that make you? Some Casablanca didn't join. You're a nervous wreck. You're right.
Nick's laughing a lot. What's going on over there?
Did he say Casablanca gin joint?
He did say that.
The way he said it, I'd like you to go back so I can hear it again. That's how much I enjoyed. How absurd his delivery was on that.
Well, in those first two lyrics, fate is my pimp, but she was cool. So he's dealing with a woman pimp here. Said, if you're doing business with me, honey, what does that make you? Some Casablanca gin joint? You're a nervous wreck. And then the next couple lyrics are just fucking off the chain, awesome. You want me to? We'll listen to them before we recite.
I love it. You can. I mean, I'd be shocked if that wasn't punched in when he comes in with the Casablanca gin joint, because it's like it basically steps over the end of the line he said before, and it's I don't know, just made me laugh.
All right, let's hear it again.
What does that make you? Some Casablanca didn't join.
Yeah, that is silly.
Suffice to say that he would have trouble pulling that off live. In fact, this song is on the live album that they did in Japan, which great set list, great musical performances. The vocals are terrible, and I can't remember exactly how he approached it here, but I just that would be a tough one for him to pull off live.
He just never
he had an accent of some sort when he said that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what.
He never really delivered live, right? Like
he's not known for doing that. No.
As far as what you're hearing, what you're seeing, yes, but what you're hearing.
Maybe like if I were him personally, I would maybe think like, oh, some of this old live stuff, I gotta go on YouTube and get that taken down before I take this album down.
Yeah,
there's some
exactly
clearly inebriated, impaired performances out there.
Yeah, I mean,
entertaining, but
definitely
terrible.
never a great live singer. But Van Halen Diver Down tour was my first show, and none of that matters when you're watching this spectacle. It's like, okay, who cares if the fucking vocals? Who knows if he's even singing? Whatever. The whole spectacle of that band at their prime was just something to behold, and I'm glad I was able to witness it. But this next pair of lyrics is pretty fucking awesome here.
All right, let's see.
You're a nervous wreck. Your IQ moment's 14 points. Her thunder thong around your neck. That song ain't dirty, it's really just the way we sing it. She's the one that
I have no idea. That was some of the most unintelligible.
Yeah, and he's definitely laboring to get up to the register, but your IQ plummets 14 points. Her thunder thong around your neck.
Thunder thong.
Thunder thong.
My goodness.
Thunder thong. That's for thunder thighs, right?
Yeah, well,
I guess so.
My goodness.
Then the song ain't dirty. It's really just the way we sing it. And then he goes into the chorus again. Yeah,
I like that.
Oh, wow.
Brilliant stuff. I mean, I don't. That's another. People crack on Dave's lyrics. I'm like, how can you even? How can you even criticize? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's fucking nobody else on the planet would write stuff like that.
Did you ever see his interview on Joe Rogan? By any chance, from a couple years ago?
Maybe snippets of it.
I remember. The takeaway that I got from watching that was he was talking about how he composes lyrics, And he basically says when he's out in public, his ears are wide open.
Yeah.
Anything anybody says while if he's walking by people sitting at a table eating and he hears something, he right away like, okay, I'm remembering that. So that's pretty brilliant actually, because I mean, what is lyrical composition but recall and organization, and that's what he's doing.
Well, and that kind of ties in and goes back to what we were talking about earlier with like the Seinfeld episodes. All that, everything about that show is the brilliance of Larry, and Curb Your Enthusiasm, the brilliance of Larry David observing people around him and turning these just innocuous things into entire episodes of comedy. And it's like a similar approach.
That's where the brilliance is, I would say.
Yeah, just observation, and in this case, listening to snippets of what other people say, because it's all around you. It's just hardly anybody has the genius or the wherewithal to even pick up on it.
She's the one man. She's the one man. She's the one man.
Okay, I wanted to stop it here because I wanted to mention it before it happens, but here we have the little musical breakdown interlude before we get into a little brief solo section. But I want you to listen to Ross vocals. He does this just crescendoing howl that just carries over right into the solo section. That it kicks in here in a second or two, but it took me a couple listens to even just perceive it, but once I did, I was like, one of the most masterful vocal things he's ever done.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, that's first impression of that solo, and I've heard it before, but didn't have to try to talk about it or anything like that. So I'm noticing more. If it would make sense that this solo would have been written maybe around the time of Running with the Devil, because it's essentially doing the same thing.
Right, yeah.
He's playing, he's got a pattern that he's playing, and then he goes back maybe a step. I don't know exactly how many, he plays basically the same pattern, but he just kind of drops it down a little bit, and just like in the Running with the Devil
it's
solo.
like it's a composed melodic thing versus just full-on shred and tapping and whammy bar stuff. And yeah, it's definitely great comparison to that one. So, thoughts, John, on the musical or anything else we just heard?
The solo had a very familiar feel to it. So that was a good point. Is that he probably kept that from the early days. Because when I was listening to it, I'm like, what does that sound like? And then you pointed out it was, which song was it?
Running with the Devil.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, it seems like the same philosophy behind the guitar solo.
Yeah, but so far I think it's really good. And surprised by Roth too. I know was a good number of years ago, but he sounds as good as he ever did. And whether it's in the studio or not, he's still doing some good work on this. They really all are. It just to me sounds like again, classic Van Halen.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only thing it's different. I'm not saying it's better or worse. Is that he doesn't do that squeal that he used to do. That I don't know that anybody could do. I've never heard anybody imitate that little squeal that he used to do.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he at this point that part of his vocal repertoire had fallen away, but he still pushes the throttle all the way. Like he still goes for it, even if he has to do something different. Like when I first heard "Me Wise Magic," I wasn't sure if that was even him during the chorus, because there was someone, you had the chorus and then there was like a really high kind of a thing, and I was like, is that Michael Anthony? I'm like, oh no, wait, that's David Lee Roth. He's just not doing that squeal anymore, so this is like probably what he's doing. He's doing that in like as a replacement for it. But I mean, still, and he's outlandish, and that's his character, and he's always been great at being outlandish.
Yeah, if he just could have reined it in a little on stage and kept it closer to what he pulled off in the studio, that's all he would have to do. But he's just like, his whole the MC, the performer, like just taking chances on stage, and it just compromised the quality of the vocals, really. But whatever, that's what you get from Dave.
Tommy Lombardozzi sent me a message, and he said that vocal thing that Roth did sounded like.
When you're down in the dumps and you need something to bring you.
Kind of like that, yes.
A little bit, but not quite though. I don't think I've ever heard anybody replicate that sound. There probably are some people out there who can, but.
I'm not talking about the squeal. I'm talking about the thing that led into the solo here.
Oh, I gotcha.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. All right, let's keep going.
She wanted something to regret tomorrow morning. This suburban garage was worth exploring. Yeah.
All right. Fucking great.
He's getting more and more snarky with the tone of his voice.
So what's that delivery that he's...
Yeah, it's weird.
She wanted something to regret tomorrow morning. Pretty much that phrase could be used to describe every sex partner I've had in my life. So I feel a connection to that batch of lyrics. And then this suburban garage à trois was worth exploring.
Wow.
I fucking love it, man. Nobody else would come up with it. Nobody else on the planet would come up with that.
I don't even understand that.
Yeah. I don't understand it either. I don't care.
Is it Garage Mahal weekend?
What's
going on?
The more you think about it, the less sense it makes, but it's great.
I mean, yeah.
Well,
I'm baffled.
It's even hinting, stuff we've talked about, like in Nick's subdivisions. The party's happening in somebody's garage. Just a bunch of people sitting around. Somebody's got a TV mounted up on the wall, drinking beers.
The wives won't let the guys in the house, so
apparently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With good reason. A garage. What is
it? This suburban garage à trois was worth exploring.
I have no idea what that means.
It's better that I don't know what it means.
John, what does it mean? Please.
What was it? Garage à trois?
Yeah.
Is that like a menage a trois in a garage?
I think
that's what they do in the suburbs. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, why not?
Imagine the humidity.
The humidity adds to it.
This is a terrible idea.
The only thing I can really pick from what he said is that it was not like there were no rose petals on the bed. This is like kind of
that's kind of like the whole song is basically. It's an unrefined. There's an unrefined quality.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. But I don't know. Is there a third partner, or does it just sound good?
Or did it take place in 3 different garages? Like what happened?
I kept getting kicked out of garages.
Some kind of tour of the neighborhood.
Not you again. Get out.
Little garage à trois.
Like all of our dwarves are gone now because of you. But thankfully, there's a party next door.
Yeah, I love it.
I don't know. I guess it's great because we're trying to figure it out, and it's fascinating.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what's next.
This suburban garage at trois was worth exploring. Yeah, dreams come true, but it remains to be seen. By the time I usually do is no longer me. She got a doorbell sign, you better bring it, but don't ring it. She's the woman. She's the woman. She's the woman.
And it's over just as I was noticing how great that riff was during that part.
Oh yeah, man. Fucking outstanding.
It really jumped out at me that very last time. Like, oh wow, that's what they're playing during the chorus.
Yeah.
This is
That's a quick song, right? Just over 3 minutes.
2:57.
2:57, just
Man.
under 3 minutes.
Yeah, in and out.
Yeah. I don't know if this is accurate. It says written by Alex Van Halen, David Lee Roth. No mention of Eddie. You think that's inaccurate?
That's inaccurate.
It's got to be, right?
This can't be right.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't sound right.
No way.
I mean, Alex is. I mean, isn't the story that he started on guitar?
Yeah,
but,
then
but whether
right.
he's writing guitar parts for
No,
Van Halen,
that's-
I don't
they
know
just,
about that.
That's
Yeah,
not true. It
he
got
didn't write
left
that guitar
off.
part.
Well, I mean, Ozzy wrote the entire Bark at the Moon album, John. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which is amazing. 'Cause
With one hand on the piano. That was the story.
he just picked
Yeah.
out the notes.
One hand and on a piano. That was what he did.
yeah,
Killer
that
of
was the,
Giants. Ozzy wrote that.
yeah, I'll sooner believe that than
Yeah, I mean,
that Eddie didn't write these guitar parts.
yeah, you can't really trust all the credits that you see.
No.
you know?
Yeah, that's
No, a
just
lot
not
of
accurate.
stories going around.
Yeah. I mean, nobody even knows how to play the Bark at the Moon riff correctly, but yet Ozzy wrote it on a piano.
Is that a thing? People say that?
I think once, I remember seeing a video when Jakey Lee came out with Red Dragon Cartel, he was in the public
Yep.
eye again. There was, I don't know, was it Nam or however you say it?
Nam.
He was there.
Nam is the war.
Nam was the war.
He just
Nam.
got back from Nam.
Yeah, Ozzy wrote this song when he was in Nam. He wrote War Pigs and Killer of Giants and Bark at the
yeah.
Moon on there, in a foxhole in Nam.
With the, well, the story. What I remember seeing was when he came back into the public eye. He was at one of these shows, and someone asked him about Bark at the Moon, and he said that he's never really seen anybody play it correctly, and he demonstrated it. Like there's a lot. There's a lot more going on in the main riff of that song than what when I've looked up guitar tabs. There's a lot more going on.
Well, I saw him up close at Reggie's with Red Dragon Cartel. It was fucking unbelievable. I mean, that guy is talk about underrated, but that was in the set obviously, and it was just incredible to watch him do it.
All right.
Wow.
Well, it's time for us to vote. Sweet Surrender or Kick in the Crotch. Chris, you brought it to the show via Mike Caruso.
The sweetest of surrenders for me.
It's sweet surrender. Hell yes.
Absolute triumph. There's no valid criticism of this song whatsoever. I can't even speak about it. It's how any actual Van Halen fan can't listen to this and be like, this fucking rules. I will never understand. Fortunately, not all of them are dismissive of it. More people, I think more people, as they're listening to it and like becomes newsworthy, it's been pulled from streaming, it's back on streaming, has kind of brought it back to people's awareness. I mean, I actually posted about this in the Pod Thundistan group of Facebook. If you're not in there, go look for it and join. I was surprised at how many of our listeners had never listened to this album, and it's a triumph. Delve into it. It's available. Have at it. I'm a fan of every cut on the album, but this one especially just the energy of these guys at this stage of life, whether it came from the excitement of having Wolfgang in the band, or it's just that chemistry again between the other three guys. Whatever it was, worked incredibly well.
All right, Nick.
Oh, this is going to get as sweet a surrender as it does the story of Eddie driving onto Fred Durst's lawn.
It's sweet surrender. Hell yeah.
Wasn't there a story like that where he's
Didn't he, like,
peeled out on his lawn or something crazy?
I remember reading that somewhere.
I never
What was
understood.
it about? Didn't he borrow some piece of equipment
I don't
or something?
even know.
What is Fred Durst doing borrowing Eddie Van Halen's equipment?
Everybody who's famous hangs out with everybody else who's famous. That's why we have John here. Yeah, it's a great song, and it's really I will maintain that it's something that everybody who's a Van Halen fan should be a fan of. And I think it's a really cool thing that they dug into a song that I guess you could say that, it's the sort of diehard fans probably only knew the demos. But a fair amount of people, I would say, were aware of this song from the demos. And after all these years, for them to rework it and have it come out as good as it did.
Yeah.
And have David Lee Roth starting to speak with some nondescript accent, or starting to deliver the lyrics with the nondescript accent, toward the middle end of the song, just adds to the I don't know. It's that Van Halen quality. It's in your face and a good time. Mm-hmm. And the lyrics are pretty lighthearted and silly at times, and that's you'll get some leg tonight for sure, right? I mean, it's in line with that. It gets ridiculous, and that's part of the charm of Van Halen, and this has that. So how could you not like it?
All right, John, Sweet Surrender or Kick in the Crotch?
Oh, I'll give Sweet Surrender.
It's sweet surrender. Hell yes.
I finally got to say it.
You did it.
Speaking of that, I too have been on the Deep Purple podcast covering a Joe Lynn Turner release.
The Yngwie Odyssey.
I was honored to be the one who got to be on that episode.
Yeah. we're very grateful for our show to have commandeered all the Joe Lynn Turner material thus far, unless you've delved into some of his solo albums, but.
No, we haven't, but I'm sure that Nate is saving those especially for you.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, but in terms of this song, I don't know if there's much that I can add to what you guys said. I think I could probably echo what Chris has been saying, is that from what I know of Van Halen and from what I heard of this song. How can you be a Van Halen fan and not think this is a good song? I mean, I enjoyed it, and you guys stopping and pointing out the lyrics. I'm not really a huge lyrics guy, so like stopping and pointing them out, how just colorful, ridiculous, just vibrant they are. It just makes the song fun, interesting, along with the energy, the history behind it. I mean, if you told me that like Michael Anthony was in this, I would have believed you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you don't miss him, but it's what's the word? Yeah, it's kind of seamless. It's a seamless transition. There's not enough differences to make it sound really jarring.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's a great track.
All right. I'm giving it a Sweet Surrender.
My goodness.
It's sweet surrender. Hell yes.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I know I listened to this album at some point. I liked Tattoo, but I just didn't really go back to it. This is a great song. I wish I had listened to it more. I've been missing out on it for 12 years.
It's not too late.
Not too late. I guess it's never too late to have a new old discovery, right?
Those opening
Never.
lyrics of Tattoo are pretty great too.
Yeah.
Along the same lines as this, it kind of paints a picture of a guy who's unrefined, I guess,
Yeah.
and maybe thinks that he is refined.
What is his problem with this album?
I don't know.
He's
I don't
so
know. I think
embarrassed
he's
that he
just-
considered paying to go to court and then decided against it.
From what I understand, that's what happened. Is he wanted it pulled down because he wasn't happy with it, and now he's decided it's not worth the legal expense to fight that battle. And it's baffling. I don't know if he's just doing that to be a dick or whatever it is.
Might be.
But I think that I do think the upside of it is this: having it being pulled down and then put back up has generated some renewed interest in it. And like I said, I really hope that all our listeners who've never checked it out before and are on the streaming, you're paying for it. Go listen to it, and if you like it, great. If you don't, I don't understand that, but there's so much great stuff on there. I could go on and on about it, but I'm just glad it's back on streaming because I'm like full tilt on streaming these days, and I'm glad it's back that I can shuffle it in with my other liked songs and I can hear these tracks again because it's fucking great.
I'll check it out now.
Should. Well, not now. We've still got some more time in the show, but
Not at this moment.
Yeah,
but,
We'll wait, John.
yeah,
Go ahead.
start
Yeah.
tomorrow. But yeah,
yeah, I'll check it out tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have Spotify. That's where I do most of my streaming. So
yeah,
on there all-
set aside the Nick Simper material for a little while, and
yeah, not a problem.
and give this one a listen. There's a ton of great material, incredible performances. Of course, Eddie is no longer with us. This is his last studio statement, and he went out on top, in my opinion.
All right. Well,
All right, Hammond, I got a question for you.
Paul Stanley wants to know if She's the Woman is a rock and roll boner classic as voted by the 4 rock and roll boners with you today.
Same year as Monster, right?
Same year as Monster, yeah.
When did 13 by Sabbath come out? It was after all this, right?
I would have guessed it was before. It was after.
Is it? Because, I mean, that's those 3 albums right there. That's pretty interesting that those 3 bands came out with.
Yeah, very, very different. Very different material.
June 2013.
Okay, so the next year.
I'm sorry, Nick. You're right.
Don't be
You're
sorry.
always right.
Well,
I'd go back a little further and just give the nod to Sonic Boom, which I also consider that to be a triumph, the way they consciously wanted to record it, to have it kind of sound like mid to late 70s Kiss. And I think for a large part they succeeded. I think the material's strong, the performances are strong, but you get the same flack from the quote-unquote fans who can't deal with, Tommy and Eric and the makeup.
Yeah.
And they're not impressionable kids anymore. They're washed up old assholes who can't appreciate anything new. And there's no other way to describe it. By any measure, it's good stuff on Sonic Boom.
So with those 3 albums that we were talking about just now, so you had, of course, the Tommy and Eric controversy, the Wolfgang Van Halen controversy. Is there equal levels of disdain from Sabbath fans that Bill Ward
Little
has
bit,
not been,
yeah.
really?
They're the purists are like, yeah, this is not Black Sabbath.
Oh,
They're
okay.
not interested.
Wow.
And a lot of them weren't feeling the Rick Rubin production, which it's not as heavy-handed as some of his other stuff. I thought he did a pretty good job of it. But yeah, there's definitely that. There's the no Bill Ward, no Sabbath types out there. He physically can't do it anymore.
No.
He's old and decrepit. He can't do it. He is though. He
died 200 years ago.
He did a great I can't remember the year, but maybe mid 2000s. But the last Ozfest he did a great job. But he physically can't do it anymore. So that's why you get Brad Wilk on the album, then Tommy Clufados is his name, I think. I know what his name is. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but who did the tour. But yeah, it's the same deal. Oh, Bill Ward's not on. I'm not interested. Okay, great. Just go listen to something else then.
But at some point, don't you just feel like it's not even about what whatever the issue is? It's just people who want attention. Like, I mean, you could read about anything. Like, there could be a video about how to put a door in your house, and then the comments are the same thing. It's like, you know, I know better. Back when I learned how to do that, I've been doing this for 40 years. I know, you know, whatever it is. Like, there's always someone who's just unhappy, and they have to lash out at whatever they see, and whatever
they have a platform on it,
and they have some knowledge, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like, where they know enough to disturb the joy of everyone else who's experiencing this video or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that it happens with every single thing.
It does.
Sometimes when I'm bored, I just click on comments and then scroll till I find the one.
Which doesn't take long.
It doesn't take long, but it's on every single thing.
No, you're right.
It's an interesting thing about people.
I wonder if there's a dopamine thing that happens.
Well,
to people
get some attention,
when they zero in on something like a detail in a video and they're like, all right, I got it.
I found my angle.
I'm pausing it and I'm making my comment.
Yeah.
You know, there was this this made me think about something that happened maybe a few years ago. I think it was like pre-pandemic, so maybe in 2019, and I was at a record show, and you know, going through all these old records, and you know, picked up some Kiss ones, and you know, some guy comes over and sees me looking at a vintage Kiss album. He's, oh, you like Kiss? Started talking to me about him. I was like, yeah, I'm going to see him on the End of the Road tour. I hadn't seen him in years, and you know, figured I was connecting with this guy, and then he just kind of looked at me and he's like, well, you know that Paul lip syncs, right? You okay with that? Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done talking to you.
I wish you were lip syncing right now.
It's like, what is this dude's problem? Like, I mean, it's like he wanted to pick a fight about it, and I'm like,
you okay with that? It's like,
so you know, he's, you know, basically, like, you know, you're getting ripped off, right? Yeah, I'm like, whatever, you know, it's none of your business.
Yeah.
It's like when, you know, people bitch about the current incarnation of Foreigner. It's like, you know, there's no original members, right? It's like, nobody gives a fuck whether or not Ed Gagliardi is in the fucking band anymore, okay? They're there for the songs, and the 30,000 people who are there don't give a fuck about there's no original members, so just shut up with that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, people just got to complain about something.
Were you okay with that, John?
I was fine with that.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, I want to go into 2 or 3 shows on that tour, and I mean, it was just to Chris's point earlier. When you're in the audience and you're in the middle of all that excitement, it doesn't matter. I mean, he could have been farting on stage. I wouldn't care.
Probably was at his age.
Yeah, see, so he was farting on stage. I didn't even notice. But,
yeah,
I mean, when
you're good with it.
The lights, the performance going on, you're having a great time. You know, you got you're hugging strangers, and you know, it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter if they're lip syncing, if they're like, you know, if they're making mistakes, whatever. It's, you know, it's just the experience that's really the thing right now.
Yeah.
Like why is Paul nailing Lick It Up with his back to us and bent over? I don't know. This is amazing.
He's farting. All right.
All right, my vote's in for this round.
My vote is in.
You know how this works, John, right?
I do. I'm very familiar. I just need to know where I'm going in the lineup here.
Nick, is your vote in?
Yes, it is. John, wherever you would like to. You like start it off, potentially finish it off, whatever you like to do.
Oh, could I be the last?
Sure.
You just want to say boner, don't you?
How juvenile.
Yeah. You
Hopefully he does, but maybe he won't. You know,
We'll
he
see if
might-
it gets
he might-
that far.
well,
We don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I shouldn't get ahead of myself, but I learned my lesson on the 2000 Man episode. Lost my innocence forever that day. So, I guess I'll go first. Nick, Andy, John.
Sounds good.
Sure.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Rock.
And
Roll.
Boner.
There we
my
go.
goodness.
It's a rock and roll ball, yeah.
You know I was trying to say
You know, John, if I saw you at a record store and you're looking at Motley Crue albums, I'd say, Vince Neil isn't lip syncing on this tour, right? Are you okay with that?
You're really
I'd
going to
be
hear
like-
him singing.
Oh God, he isn't. Oh, I'm getting a refund. Sorry. Oh,
I think you can, it's a safe bet to say that Pete Weber has been involved in a garage à trois or two in his life.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Seems like something professional bowlers would get involved in.
Getting thrown out of garages.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Garage à trois. I love that.
Thinking now that you said that thing about Vince Neil, isn't it correct that I don't know if I'm sure John 5 is playing, but isn't Nicky not even playing anymore? Isn't that what
That's
people
what
are saying?
That's what
That's
everybody
what
says.
allegedly Mick Mars. Well, wasn't that? Was it Carmine or Vinny who said that they talked to one of the Apiche?
It was
brothers.
Carmine. Vinny doesn't get into that muck.
Okay, so it was
Like
Carmine.
Carmine
Was
does.
I think he was relaying stuff that allegedly Mick Mars had told him, and basically said, Nicky's just up there, not really doing.
Well, there are
anything.
allegations that the drums are pre-recorded.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, because Tommy he hurt his shoulder on that last one tour, and I think it was Clufados filled in.
I think you're right.
But then when he came back, there are clips of like the drums starting before he's even sitting behind the kit. So
What the
there's
hell?
all sorts of allegations of chicanery with those guys.
Okay, if of all of that, the most problematic is Vince, and he's singing live.
Vince, see, and that's the thing. Everybody's so upset about lip syncing, and then Vince comes out and he gives it a go, and people are like, "Oh."
Look at this idiot. Yeah.
See, I think
It's no pleasing.
I
some
think
people.
Vince deserves a little credit for that.
I do too.
Even though
though
I couldn't sing those songs. Who do you know that could sing those songs in the Vince Neil voice that's on the records
I don't know.
and do that live? I don't know, man. That's tough. I would imagine.
I mean, that is why all those people are there, though. It's not just a karaoke performance, and who could sing it? Of course, we can't.
No, but
30,000 people
I'm
wouldn't
just
come
saying.
see us
I know,
try.
but I'm just saying, like in a live setting.
Yeah.
All these people who are criticizing Vince
Oh yeah.
Neil,
Well, they can't do anything.
they wouldn't
either.
do any better.
No.
Well, no, of course not. They
No.
wouldn't do any better. But this is Vince Neil's job.
Yeah.
It's like, can't you just get into better physical
Well,
shape?
there is that, I guess.
Because I mean, that's that's a physical instrument that he's dealing with, and it's just. And I know he's been through a lot of shit, and everybody
Yeah.
copes with it their own way, not necessarily the best way.
Yeah.
That's your fucking job, dude.
Yeah.
Just get in a little better shape. You don't have to be fucking.
John
You know,
Mottola or anything.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to aspire to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you don't have to be me. but
Yeah,
God.
I mean, just rippling six packs and ball bearing asses everywhere. Just try dropping 10 pounds. Just drop a 10 and see what happens. Just give that a shot.
I think they got to go back to that lawyer and redraft that contract. Is what they should be doing.
Well, yeah.
Make it like a wrestling team.
What do you
There's
mean?
weight classes.
Oh.
You gotta meet it or you don't get to play.
Then you don't get to play
I'm
that
rooting.
show.
I've said this before. I'm still rooting for Vince Neil. It's not. I
Sure.
don't think it's too late. I think one of these years there's going to be a tour that they're booked on, and he's going to have the whole winter and not tell anybody. And he's gonna get in the best shape he's been in years,
It's
and he's gonna
doable.
come out and. As the expression goes, the cliche goes, the internet will explode or break or whatever.
It's doable.
It is
Doable.
doable, and I'm
Didn't he
rooting
kind of do
for
that?
him. I want him to
Didn't
do
he kind
it.
of do that before their first comeback? Like he was just off social media and he was like laying low, and then when he came back, he kind of like we made a semi like he he looked pretty good. He was sounding good. Like the reports of their first show when like they first came back, like all the original members, and they were just like, hey, he pulled up like not 100%. He didn't come out and he was, like me, but
Right. Well, no, yeah.
Well, no.
I mean,
Let's
No,
be
but
realistic.
let's talk about something that mortals can pull off. I mean,
yeah, the people were kind of like surprised. They were just like, "Wow, all right, he actually is in better shape. He was actually singing pretty well. Like everybody sounded good. Like, didn't he kind of do that?"
I don't remember. Maybe I'm.
are
rooting
you
for it to
talking about
happen
when
again.
he came back after the Karabi era, or like fairly recently, like
No, like
after
within the past like couple of years, like when
I don't
because
remember that.
I don't recall that. I think he was out with his solo band and just in terrible shape and not singing well. And then to your point, when they got the original band together, I think maybe there's a little improvement, but just it's not where it should be in terms of people are buying tickets and that's on them, but it's his job.
yeah,
Just
But,
fucking
yeah.
get your shit together for 6 months and just like Nick said, just a middle finger to everybody who's
Yeah.
just written you off and be like, look, I
it'd be
can do
awesome.
this.
Yeah.
It's doable.
I'm rooting for him, like
Me
Nick
too.
said, but
Let's all root for him.
I bet ultimately it comes down to: am I still getting paid the same? Are people still showing up? Are there still women around?
you don't
Like,
need-
what's
like,
why do I have to do anything?
Like there's no additional
you're-
fire lit under him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing will change, other than I can say that I did it. But as far as the things I want, I'm
Right,
I'm
and
still
to-
getting
right.
them.
He should. Okay.
no,
Maybe
you got
not
a
this.
point.
I think they're touring this summer, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe next.
yeah.
We'll go for next summer.
It's too late for this.
He comes out having no publicity leading up to it, really. He comes out on stage for the first song and he looks great. He's in great shape. He's wearing a t-shirt with the picture of him as
The Bumble.
the abominable snowman from Rudolph that people pass around. He comes
would
out
be
wearing
great.
that shirt
That would be awesome.
and looking great. That's what I'm hoping for.
Wow.
I want that
Yeah,
for
but-
Vince. I want that moment
You
for
want
him.
that more for him than he wants it for himself.
Well, that has
Yeah.
yet to be seen, but
Well, I mean, I think that a fair point is that if there's no extra incentive, like if somebody, unless you're giving me a bonus or a raise, what's my incentive to work any harder at my job?
Personal pride. I mean,
Sure.
like I said, he's been through a lot of shit. And look, trust me,
Yeah.
it's no fun being on that restrictive of a diet and like working on your fitness. I mean, it can be fun. You can learn to enjoy it, but the diet part is rough. But it's your
Yeah.
job.
I agree.
Fucking
I
do
agree. I'm
it. Just
saying
for
that-
one tour, then go back to the Coors Lights and the pizzas and all that shit. Just do it. Just show the world that you can do it.
Yeah.
Personal pride is the reason. If you don't have that an incentive, then it's over. It's never going to happen.
I mean that's enough to make another biopic just for that.
Just that story.
Yeah, I mean forget the dirt, the Vince Neil redemption story.
But didn't he? But that's the other thing. Like you said before, this should be done not on a reality show and not fucking spilled out in social media, away from the spotlight. Work with a trainer, work with a dietitian, get your shit together, and just reappear as the second coming of Dr. Feelgood era Vince Neil.
Yeah.
Don't make a fucking spectacle
Yeah.
out of it. Just go and do it for yourself and to flip off the world who said you couldn't do it. There you go.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
But it's not easy. It takes work, but it's his job. It's not like us who have day jobs and then have to, on top of that, have to get our shit together in the gym and then have, hire a dietitian. It's like, that's not going to happen for us. He has the means to do all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
go do it.
Well, when they toured with Def Leppard, Phil Collins said, "I'll train with him if
Yes,
he wants."
exactly.
All you gotta do is just call Phil Collins.
Like you,
train that.
like we're
Train with
we're
that
talking
dude.
about here. He's a people root for that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People want to help him. The resources are available. Take advantage of it. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's quite a tangent.
But I think it was worth it.
Well, when you have the pinnacle of a human specimen, John Mottola, on the show, your mind drifts to these subjects. We're holding people up to an unrealistic standard. I mean, nobody's getting to Mottola levels of fitness, but
Yeah. Mottola, if you look up swimmer's body in the dictionary,
Yes,
there's a
you
picture of John Mottola.
Maybe 20 years ago.
Okay.
Jake Gyllenhaal was going for that in the Roadhouse reboot, and he just couldn't get there, he said.
Yeah.
He said he tried. He got 90% there, but he just came up short. He just had to throw up the white flag.
90% is not bad, though.
It's not bad. It's better than what most people get, but
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, if you disagree with us, we're sorry.
That's just the fucking way it is.
What are you going to do? I don't know what to tell you.
Eh.
Well,
John, what kind of commercial do you want? John sometimes will send me a message and say that bizarre commercials come up for him during these moments.
Yeah. What was the one that I texted you about that time? It was just
it's
like
been a while. I don't remember exactly.
there was like
something
I felt
seedy.
targeted.
Yeah.
I felt targeted because there was like one commercial about like these frozen Italian meals, and the next one was about a liquor store. So I'm just like, all right, this thing is
knows you
clearly
too well.
targeting.
that's funny. All right. Well, we'll be right back.
with this word from the Sargento people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's just the way Grandma used to make it, right, John?
Mwah.
Oh, Stofers. I love it.
Mwah. Just the way Mama Mottola used to make it.
Yep. Yep. Do you got time for Yardo questions?
Oh, absolutely.
What about you two over there? You still awake?
I got time.
I think so.
All right.
The dogs don't.
Yeah,
they're out.
Well, this one's out.
They've
She's
had it.
waking back up, but yeah.
We'll make it snappy. We'll push
Yeah,
through.
do a lightning round
Here
if
we
possible.
go. Yes.
Yards of questions. Motherfucker, I give them.
Sing away.
Yes, Chief.
Gonna announce it again, Nick, to hold ourselves accountable. Any given Sunday watch along is happening December.
That's right. I got to get on that.
25th anniversary viewing.
I got to get on that.
What do you mean get on it?
Yeah.
You got to get your
I
thoughts
think,
together?
I think you got to come in just having not seen it in 25 years. That's what I would recommend. I think a fresh viewing would make for much better reactions.
Let's face it, I'm not watching that at home.
No, don't do it. Come in with a fresh viewing. The last time you saw it was on its original run in the theater.
I'm pretty
right?
sure.
Yeah, don't spoil that. No, come in with the fresh eyes. And Andy, you've never seen it.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, that's
just
gonna
clips
be a good one.
that you guys have sent over the years.
Yeah.
All right, this week's Yardo Questions comes to us from our friend Colin Taco Bell.
Oh, there he is again.
Colin says, "Hey guys, it's your buddy Taco with 3 questions using the new based on this week's song Game Changer."
Oh, I like
if you remember that from a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
All right. Question 1.
No, that was this last week, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe, I don't know. Time I can't comprehend anymore.
Yeah.
Question 1. You take a lady back to your place after a night out and turn on the stereo. This week's song comes blasting out. What's her reaction to your choice?
She says yes.
Yeah.
When you say
the clothes just start coming off.
You get the ring out, you get down on one knee. She says yes.
Goes that far, huh?
That's what happened. She's the woman.
Yes, and for me it would be a continuing streak of 100% of my sex partner saying, "I want something to regret tomorrow morning," and you're it. So.
This song, it's got charm. It's not terribly romantic, but
Well,
it's
but,
got
you know,
charm.
It does set a tone, you know. Like you know, put some intent out there.
What do you think, John? Is this one in Lover's playlist? Does it work?
I mean, yeah, you could like flip on the I have behind my TV those what do you call them? Those motion lights, so you can have the different settings for strobe lights or disco lights or whatever. You just put that one
like
on.
a whole light show.
That'd be frantic
Oh, yeah.
to that opening
Yeah.
bass line there.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna put we'll put that on and have a rock and roll party. That's what
There you go.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Now you're talking.
All right. Question 2. You're about to make your WWE debut as a wrestler. This week's song is your entrance music. Based on this, what is your character?
Okay, something comes to mind, and I don't know if it's ever been done. I mean, I think everything's been done in wrestling, but I haven't watched very intently for a while.
Yeah.
Considering this, and if now it didn't say you were a wrestler, right? You could be a valet.
As a wrestler.
Oh, as a wrestler.
But
Okay.
You can make your own rules.
All right, so I'm gonna say, unless it's been done before, I'm part of the first co-ed tag team. And she's the woman,
Okay.
talking
Oh,
about
that's a
my
good
talking
one.
about my
That's a good
tag
one.
team partner.
Okay.
What the gimmick would be though? I don't know.
Don't know, huh? What do you guys think? What would your character be if this is your song?
I like the way Nick was heading. Kind of would like to do the same thing. What was geez, I'm totally blanking on her name. There it is. That would be I'm gonna steal Nick's idea because my tag team partner would be Sasha Banks.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and it would just be coming out as a worship song to her, basically. And I would be her-
Worships.
My goodness.
Yes. And I would be the her tag team partner.
All right.
On and off stage, in and out of the ring, hopefully, would be the ideal scenario.
Hanging out with Snoop.
Yeah, whoever I got to hang out with to get next to Sasha Banks, I'm doing it.
All right.
Andy knows.
I know you're a fan.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Me and Arturo,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my.
Yes. Yep.
Arturo
Only-
could be your manager.
There you go. Yeah, the pitch man, the hype man, that would work. The three of us could have a garage, a claw together. It'd be a good time.
John, what do you think?
Well, let me see. I'd probably come out as my character would be the Silver Fox, since it's my new nickname.
I like it.
But I wouldn't come out with a tag team partner. I would come out with my manager, a la Miss Elizabeth from the old WWF. So that would be the woman.
So it would be Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love that.
Yeah,
That
or
works for me.
something like that. She would I'd have the female manager
Like
following
a
the
classy,
Silver Fox
a
out to
classy
the ring.
woman like Miss Elizabeth.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like it.
Not some Jezebel.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, that doesn't
no,
work
it
for
has
John.
has to be her because that's what I grew up with. I was into that wrestling in like the mid to late '80s, like really big when I was
Yeah.
a kid, and then kind of dropped off to the kind of whatever the modern day wrestling was. Like I was into it for a really short time, but it's like
Yeah.
I was way into it.
Nice.
Question 3. In classic romantic movie style, you turn up late at night with your acoustic guitar at the girl of your dreams' house, hoping to serenade her. You choose this week's song
week's
to belt
song.
out. Are you getting her running into your arms?
Yes.
Or her dad chasing you with a shotgun? And while you guys think about your answer, Taco says, hope you enjoy these silly fun questions, and as always, thanks for the continued entertainment. Lots of love to you all and your families. Taco.
Appreciate
He's a
that.
gentleman.
He is. He's quite a guy.
You know, if he submits a yard of questions in a couple weeks here, and Andy picks it, I think he could be Colin Liberty Bell. But we'll see.
Ooh, that's good for 1 week.
Go for it, Colin. You know, Chris, if you had the gimmick of the new bushwhacker, you could lick Sasha Banks' head in front of
that's
everybody.
good.
I like that.
Bushwhackers.
I think for this question, best case scenario, the girl goes to bed, the dad comes down with his electronic kit, and we jam on it together.
There you go.
third
In the
option.
garage.
In the garage. That's where I'm.
Beers out of the requisite refrigerator in the garage.
TV nowadays,
going.
everybody's got a TV
Yeah.
in the garage. Yeah, that's for me best case scenario with this song.
I mean, what woman wouldn't melt to hear an acoustically driven delivery of "I Want to Be Your Knight in Shining" pickup truck? I mean, that's 3 lines in. You're done at that point. That's all you got to do. She's jumping out the window at you at that point. So yeah, that works. That scenario works. It's a winning strategy.
No, I would get chased away.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. I get to before Garage à Trois even leaves my mouth.
I mean, that's after the solo, right? I mean,
I don't know if I get that far. I don't even know if I could handle the guitar parts on acoustic, let alone electric, let alone acoustic. But I'd be getting chased away.
Well, they see the silver fox serenading the daughter. Suddenly, you've got a Benny Martinez situation on your hands. He's coming at you with a shotgun, machete, anything he can get his hands on.
All right.
Andy, why don't you answer this one real quick? What do you,
How would it go?
yeah, how would it go? And say you put a sticker on your guitar. What does the sticker say that you're coming in with?
Tacos and burritos of Rancho Grande.
That's good.
Yep.
Maybe the dad likes that
You
place
might be
too.
a fan of that, yeah. I'd like to believe that it would work. You know?
Would you now, for all of us, I guess, but would you tone it down or would you just go full tilt?
I think you have to go full tilt.
percussive strumming to the max, you know,
Yeah, and
keeping
then-
it going.
The weird delivery of gin joint and everything. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to... I feel like that's one of those things where if you don't commit, you're getting tossed out of the yard.
I would say you're right.
And I don't think you want to take too many liberties with how they've put this song together. It's, it wouldn't end well for you.
No.
Why mess with a winning formula?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Colin Taco Bell, for your Yardo questions. And if you want to send a Yardo questions, go to potofthunder.com. Click that little widget. Send not 1, not 2, but 3 questions our way. We will read them on the show. John, thank you for joining us, man. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been a great time. I'm a longtime fan of your guys' show, so it's been aspiration of mine to be on. So
It's very
no,
nice
really,
of you to
it's
say that.
I'm really was excited to be on. I was like happy to have you guys on too. You're the only one, Andy, that's going to be on our show that hasn't been on yet.
Eventually,
As a guest.
right? You got to make it happen
Yeah.
at some point.
And it's always a pleasure to be on the Deep Purple podcast. Always a great time. You
Yeah.
and Nate are wonderful guys.
Yeah, and you're doing a great job with the show. I mean, just the offshoots you do, and there's just so many possibilities there. I mean, if there's some way you can connect Deep Purple to Mike Patton and Faith No More, that's your avenue to get Andy on.
We've already figured that out.
You have?
Yeah, there's a Highway Star cover. So
Oh, there you go.
That
Well,
might-
there you go. Make it happen.
it might happen.
That's what
at some
that's what Nate would call a tenuous connection.
point. Okay.
Well, hey,
that's as close as we're gonna get.
Yeah.
I think.
Hey, we've done it.
if you-
We've done it to most people's chagrin.
and for
They-
worse reasons than to have Andy Jones on your show, I'm sure. So, I mean, Nat, you do what you got to do to bring ALB onto the program.
Well, we'll make it happen at some point.
Yeah, it's always a blast to hang out with you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, and same to you, and thanks for coming on. I hope you enjoyed the song pick and the reasoning behind it, and appreciate having you on. It was a long overdue, and glad we were finally able to make it happen.
And John,
Thank you so much.
what's the best way for everybody to find you if you want people to find you?
Oh, we do. So we are the Deep Purple Podcast. We're on every new episode every Monday. You can find us wherever you find all your fine podcasts. And we're at deeppurplepodcast.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram. So yeah, you can find us like that, and give us a listen. We'd really appreciate it.
All right. Well, John, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back next week with more Pod of Thunder.
Our producer is named Andy Jones. Makes it possible to bring you the show. And he clicks like the wind. Clicks like the wind. Our producer is named Andy Jones. He's named Andy Jones.